Have you ever felt that the more you give, the less people appreciate you? You hold the door open and no one says thank you. You help a friend and suddenly they expect it every time. The more kindness you show, the more invisible you become. And the worst part? If you don't figure this out, you'll spend your whole life wondering why people don't respect you, why they ignore your needs, and why they take you for granted. But don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to command respect without losing your kindness. Because the problem isn't kindness itself, it's how you use it. Let me tell you a story about a man in ancient Rome. His name was Gaius, a wealthy merchant known for his kindness. He never refused anyone. If someone needed money, he gave it. If someone needed time, he always said yes. At first, people admired him. They called him generous. They praised his big heart. But something strange happened. The more he gave, the more they demanded. The more he sacrificed, the less they respected him. They stopped thanking him. They expected his generosity. One day, a friend borrowed a large sum of money. When Gaius asked for it back, his friend laughed. "You don't need it," he said. "Besides, I thought you were generous." And just like that, the mask fell. Gaius realized a hard truth. The world doesn't respect endless giving. It respects boundaries. The Stoics understood something crucial. People don't value what they get for free. Think about it. When was the last time you truly appreciated the air you breathe? You don't, because it's always there. That's how people see kindness, when it's given too freely. They assume you'll always say yes, that you'll always help. And if you let them take advantage of you, they assume you must not value yourself. So, your kindness, something noble, gets twisted into a sign of weakness. You've seen it happen. The nice guy who's always available gets ignored. The friend who always says yes gets walked over. Meanwhile, the person who sets boundaries, people chase after them. It feels unfair, almost like a cruel joke. But it's not a joke. It's human nature. People respect what they have to earn. They respect what is scarce. If your kindness is unlimited, it loses all value. Does this mean you should become cold, distant, or rude? Absolutely not. Stoicism isn't about becoming a stone. It's about control. Here's what the Stoics teach us about commanding respect without losing kindness. 1. Kindness must be intentional, not automatic. Marcus Aurelius helped people, but he wasn't a people pleaser. He understood that unchecked generosity leads to exploitation. He chose when to give, ensuring his kindness was an act of strength, not submission. Before helping someone, ask yourself, am I doing this out of genuine goodwill, or am I seeking approval or avoiding discomfort? This is the difference between self-respect and self-sacrifice. A colleague asks you to cover their shift again. A friend only calls when they need something. A family member guilt-trips you into running another errand. You feel drained, not because you lack generosity, but because they've come to expect it. Over time, their gratitude fades, and what was once a favor becomes an unspoken obligation. Seneca warned, "A gift given carelessly benefits neither the giver nor the receiver." If your kindness is given without thought, it loses its value. We see this in everyday life. Employees who stay late without recognition, parents who sacrifice endlessly for children who take them for granted, friends who never return the favor. This is not kindness. This is surrender. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most successful women in the world, learned this firsthand. She once said, "You teach people how to treat you." When she stopped saying yes to everything, people suddenly respected her time. This is not just a lesson for celebrities. It is a principle for life. When you constantly give without limits, you are teaching people that your time, your energy, and your kindness are limitless and, therefore, not valuable. A true Stoic chooses when to give, ensuring kindness remains. A virtue, not a weakness. Instead of allowing generosity to be drained by expectation, they reserve it for those who truly appreciate it. They do not allow their kindness to be mistaken for weakness, nor do they let their goodwill be twisted into servitude. Strength lies in choosing when to give, how to give, and most importantly, when to stop. 2. Say no without explaining yourself. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." If you're constantly available, you become meaningless. Think about the friend who always says yes to every favor, the colleague who never refuses extra work, the family member who bends over backward for others. Over time, their generosity is taken for granted. When something is always available, it becomes invisible, expected, and ultimately undervalued. Epictetus reminds us, if you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. This means choosing where to direct your energy and knowing when to detach. Consider an employee who is always the first to volunteer for extra work. At first, they're appreciated, but soon their willingness is expected rather than valued. Eventually, they become the person everyone relies on, but no one respects. This principle applies beyond the workplace. A parent who constantly does everything for their child may think they are showing love. But over time, the child stops appreciating their efforts. A friend who never says no may believe they are fostering a strong relationship, but soon, that friendship becomes one-sided, filled with unspoken expectations rather than mutual appreciation. The great Steve Jobs, known for his relentless focus, was famous for saying no to hundreds of opportunities so he could concentrate on what truly mattered. This ability to say no was not about rejection, but about prioritization. He understood that when everything is important, nothing is important. When you start placing value on your time, others will too. At first, they may resist, even push back, but soon they will recognize your worth. True power lies in restraint, not in spreading yourself too thin, but in reserving yourself for what truly matters. 3. Reward appreciation, not entitlement. If someone values your kindness, continue giving, but if they begin to expect it as their right, take a step back. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are consumed by pleasing others, your soul will wear the stain of servitude. Consider a workplace scenario. You consistently help a colleague meet deadlines. At first, they thank you. Over time, they assume you'll always step. Then one day you're swamped with your own work and they react with disappointment, even frustration. Not because they are ungrateful, but because they have grown accustomed to your help. This is the nature of unchecked generosity. It evolves from a kind gesture into an unspoken obligation. The giver, once appreciated, is now expected to serve. This is the subtle erosion of respect. Seneca reminds us, "He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment of his debt." If gratitude disappears, so should the gift. We see this pattern in personal relationships as well. A friend who constantly listens to others' problems but never shares their own finds their role diminished. A spouse who always compromises for the sake of peace soon realizes their needs are ignored. Over time, these small sacrifices build resentment, not fulfillment. Steve Jobs, known for his unwavering focus, understood this principle. He refused to spread himself too thin, knowing that saying yes to everything meant diluting his true purpose. He was selective in his commitments, choosing only what aligned with his mission. This made his time valuable and people respected it. His ability to say no was not an act of rejection, but an assertion of self-respect. Another great example is J.K. Rowling. Before she became one of the most successful authors in history, she faced immense pressure to conform. to write what the market wanted rather than staying true to her vision. She was offered multiple opportunities that could have compromised her creative integrity, but she refused. By staying committed to her purpose, she built a legacy that resonated worldwide. Like a true Stoic, she did not chase approval. She pursued excellence, and in doing so, respect followed. A Stoic chooses wisely. They do not give blindly, nor do they sacrifice their dignity for approval. Instead, they give where appreciation exists and withdraw when expectation replaces gratitude. True generosity is rooted in discernment, not obligation. Command respect, not through rejection, but through understanding when to give and when to withhold. 4. Command presence, not approval. Stoic doesn't seek to be liked, they seek to be respected. When you stop trying to win people over, paradoxically, they start valuing you more. Respect is earned through consistency, self-discipline, and the ability to walk away from situations that compromise your integrity. Consider a workplace scenario. You're always the one staying late, covering for others, saying yes to every request. At first, people appreciate it, but over time, they expect it. They stop saying thank you. They assume you'll always be there to help. Then, when you finally set boundaries, they react with surprise or even resentment. Why? Because they became conditioned to your constant availability, mistaking your generosity for obligation. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This means setting standards for yourself, not bending to win approval. When you stop seeking validation, your presence carries weight. People begin to listen more when you speak and take notice when you act with intention. Your presence commands attention, not because you demand it, but because you have earned it through self-restraint and purpose. Look at someone like Elon Musk. He is not known for being agreeable, yet his presence commands respect. His focus is on his purpose, not on making people like him. His ability to remain indifferent to public opinion allows him to make bold, strategic moves that others hesitate to take. That is the essence of Stoicism, standing firm in your principles, prioritizing your mission over social approval, and accepting that not everyone will like you. History has shown us that those who command the most respect are often not those who seek it. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example. He faced fierce opposition, yet he remained steadfast in his beliefs. He didn't bend to public opinion for the sake of approval. He remained focused on what he believed to be right, even when it was unpopular. His quiet confidence made him one of the most respected leaders in history. If you hold yourself with quiet confidence, if you act with integrity and restraint, people will start to see you differently. They will listen more when you speak and seek your presence rather than assume it. This is the power of a Stoic. Not loud words, but measured action. Not blind compliance, but firm conviction. When you carry yourself with self-respect, the world responds in kind. Think about the last 5 times you were kind to someone. Did they appreciate it, or did they expect it? If you've realized people have been taking advantage of you, don't get angry. Get smart. Apply what you've learned today, and watch how people start treating you differently. If this video made you realize something about yourself, if you had that moment of, "Damn, this is me," then don't just watch, take action. And if you want more insights like this, subscribe. Here, we don't just talk, we transform mindsets. And remember, a Stoic gives but never begs, respects but never kneels, be kind, but never ever be a doormat.